Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Gourmet Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Joined alongside Tim in Green Bay. We got Jacob in Wisconsin here to talk Packers tonight. It's Bengals week. Obviously, it's Wednesday, October the 8th. Really excited about diving into the PFF preview. We're going to show you some of the players on the Bengals roster that are kind of I don't know. We got a couple that are dominating forces, one on offense, one on defense, to be honest with you. Now, it takes more than just two players on a team of 53 or 48 or whatever the active man roster is to get the job done every Sunday, or any given Sunday, I should say. But I'll tell you, man, the Bengals, they've got a little bit of talent there. Are they playing up to that talent? We're going to talk about that. We're also going to hit on the injury report. We get all kinds of updates from the injury report. It's a long list. I feel like most of it is good news. And obviously, Devontae Wyatt, we'll try to read between the lines to see exactly what's going on there, whether he will play or not. Right now, it seems like we're leaning in the opposite direction of having Devontae Wyatt play. So we'll dive into all of that, as well as the chat, any super chats we get rolling through here on YouTube as well. Before we do that YouTube stuff for me real quick. It's greatly appreciated. Hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. Thanks for hanging out with us. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We are fans just like you, talking Packers on the daily. So if you're looking for content geared around the Packers, film breakdown, pre-game shows, post-game shows, live streams, all that good stuff, make sure you hit subscribe and click that bell icon so you're notified when we do go live. Gents, what's going on? How we doing?
Ready to go.
I'm good. I had a pizza party today at work,
The hell, y'all 12 years old? What's going on?
Smooths everything. Anytime there's anything that any negativity, just buy these people pizza and everything goes good. I'm telling you.
Where did I see that? That was on The Office, wasn't it? Remember, he got pizza down there in the.
Do you want a medium amount of good pizza or a small amount of really good?
I was actually watching that episode earlier tonight, so that's hilarious, man. But hopefully everybody's having a great day out there. If y'all would hit that like button. Emilio may be joining us shortly. Obviously, we went live a little bit earlier. I'm going to probably start doing this as we get a little deeper into the fall and the early winter months. We'll start going live at 6 p.m. Central as opposed to 6:30. As Jen Wright said, Emilio resting up too. LOL. Yeah, Emilio's out there working like a dog. He's trying to get back in the swing of things, I think, man. Tim, you know how it is, dude. You come down with a little illness and then next thing you know, man, it's all right, I'm over it now, but my body's still going, Bub, we've been drag assing for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
We ain't ready for this.
That energy is always the last thing to come back, right? You finally get through the worst of it, and then you're just waiting to catch up. But he's still a young buck. I bet you Emilio's doing all right. Hopefully he'll join us tonight a little bit.
Oh, he'll be fine, man. He'll be fine. Speaking of young bucks and getting back into the swing of things, this guy right here back on the practice field.
Here's the guy.
Ash and I have been tweeting out Christian Watson in pads. So our boy out there, guys, it looks like there's no limitations with him. We've talked about it. No brace, no sleeve. None of these clips you go, a little ginger there. They're holding him back. It seems like he's going 100%. You guys correct me if I'm wrong there. Now, question is, how aggressive do you get this Sunday? Do you even activate him? Or do you kind of hold out and say, you know what, let's sit him one more week and let's maybe bring him out of the stable, I guess you could say, out of the bullpen there against the Arizona Cardinals on the road. What's your all's take on that? How do we feel about Scoot? Do you want to see him out there against the Bengals, or would you rather let's play this safe here?
I say if he's out there against Cincy, it should be extremely limited. You're talking about the snap count of all snap counts, really watching him. But I'm not entirely opposed to him suiting up and getting some reps just to get some, game speed play for the first time in, almost a year. I think it'd be nice to kind of pepper him in a little bit, but we can't afford to overdo it. I like what Jen Wright's saying there. Give me 5 to 10 snaps, get the wheels turning a little bit, and, then take them out and get them ready for Arizona.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I just, watching his press conference, he really does seem like that he's confident in it. He kept reiterating, like, it's 100%, like, I feel like I'm good to go. But that being said, we've learned kind of the lesson of having a guy come back maybe a week or two too early. It seems like it's kind of bit us in the butt very recently, multiple different times with multiple different players. I saw a stat today, I thought, of Marshawn Lloyd and him, just his career so far. He has like 10 snaps in like 21 missed games or whatever the heck it was since we've drafted him. So we got to be a little careful, I think, with just trying to force him back out there. He's a guy that is an absolute game changer. I like what Ben's saying there. Use him as a decoy, and those 5 to 10 snaps can be a very kind of integral chess match right there, where you put him on the field and the guys, Clayton, what do you always talk about at X receivers where the defense has to dictate coverage to cover that guy? Yep. I feel like that you could use him sparingly and have guys just like the fact that he's even on the field, they have to take notice and at least be a distraction. So I think that's a good.
And typically Christian will play Z, right? So let's say that you march him out there in his normal spot as a decoy and you put him at the Z. And now you've got Matthew Golden in the F, which is typically the slot, the moving slot, right? And that would be Jaden Reed's typical position, right? You got Romeo in the X, you got Dontavion Wicks coming off the bench. And then when, of course, you take Christian Watson off the field, because if he does play, he's going to play limited snaps. I think we would all agree with that. When you pull him off the field, you move Golden to the Z, and now you can decide, do we want Wicks? And it depends on the matchup. What matchup do you like? Do you like Wicks against a specific corner for the Bengals? If that's the case, maybe you put him at the X and put Romeo in the slot, which we've seen quite a bit last week, Tim. We talked about that for Chalk Talk. You've seen Romeo actually play a little F and a little moving Z, which was, I don't want to say it's surprising. We knew he could do it, but it was pretty wild to see them actually follow through with that, I thought. So if you're going to put Christian out there as a decoy, if you put him on the field side on the Z, I think that might draw a little coverage away from the X, and maybe you can really lean on Romeo and let Christian get his feet under him a little bit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it does. And I think it's a testament to the depth we have in this receiver room, allowing, Matt LaFleur to be able to move some pieces around like that. And I think you're right. I think we all had the faith that Romeo could play there, but seeing him do it is another thing, right? And I think with Scoot coming back, whatever you got to do to try and draw some coverage and make things easier, that's the kind of role you're going to want him to have, especially, early on, getting his legs under him,
Yep. Jen Wright says here, Jacob, let Tucker Kraft eat. That's the other thing too, man. You run a couple clear out routes and just kind of lean on Tucker a little bit. The Tuesday player on defense, surprise, surprise, nobody's going to be surprised, is Trey Hendrickson, right? Now, how do you neutralize Trey Hendrickson? One of two ways. You can either double him, right, with the chip, or just a straight up double team block. And I'm sure they'll move him around a little bit to try to do the same thing that Cleveland does with Myles Garrett. Or, Jacob, what you could do is get that ball out of your hand quick. And to me, the best way to do that is come out in a trips left look, or a trips right look, or a Trey right look, stretch the field with the Z and the X, and then run a little mini slot cross, meaning maybe a block and release with Tucker Kraft on a shallow cross or a drag route, and then have a climb or a dig with the F, whether it's Matthew Golden, Roman that spot, whoever, and just kind of work the middle of the field underneath. Their linebacking core looks pretty weak to me. Their safeties seem to be the strong point of their defense, which we'll talk about here in a second. What do you think about that with getting Tucker Kraft going? And I don't know if you've got any early numbers on that or not, Jacob. I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but I know sometimes you're in tune with the over-unders, but what do you think about Tucker?
I mean, I haven't seen his over-under specifically for this game. It usually changes quite a bit at this point of the week, but I do think that is – I mean, we've seen from Tucker Kraft I think he is a more versatile all-around tight end than people give him credit for. He's, I believe, a really good blocker. He's good inline if you want to split him out, and he's shown that he can make kind of acrobatic catches as well. So, I've seen him hit the seam, you know what I mean? The out routes, he can seemingly do everything, but I like him to do some more of that kind of picking apart the underneath stuff. I do also think that it could be a game. I feel like we keep saying this over and over. Like if they want to focus in on taking Tucker away, then it is a time where maybe Golden gets another, chance to kind of use some of the separation he's been getting that we just haven't quite gotten to click. So it's like pick your poison type thing. I also want to see Jacobs maybe doing more catching out of the backfield. I think that is just so underrated that, they never did it with him in the Raiders. And I think if we could get that going, it takes a little pressure off Jordan feeling like he has to force the ball down the field. He has that little cutoff valve kind of thing. But I do think that Tucker is going to be a big part of this game. I'm excited about it.
Deadfish in the chat says, let's activate a D tackle from the practice squad and rest Watson and White. And for me, obviously, it'd be Warren Brinson's the guy that now he's not on the practice squad, but I don't think he's been active in any games yet, right, Tim, if I'm remembering correctly. So if that's the case, let Warren Brinson play. I don't think I think there's like a 5% chance that Devontae Wyatt plays. I think it just feels like they're not going to try to rush that until Arizona. And even then, is there any swelling in the knee? And do you want him to fly across the country to Arizona? So I could be wrong here. We may look up on Sunday and he be active, right? I don't have any inside information, but on the surface, Tim, I think you gotta kind of sit Wyatt.
Yeah, I would agree. There's, have we learned our lesson yet? I mean, look at Zach Tom with the oblique. It's the same thing. We got to let Wyatt. We know he's week to week, right? So if he needs another week, then yeah, we got to. It's going to be defensive line by committee against the Bengals, and I would definitely anticipate a heavy rotation, regardless.
Dude, real quick, just because do you think that there is? I don't want to call it like an issue or I guess more maybe a pattern. If you look at guys like Marshawn Lloyd, Scoot, obviously Zach Tom, going back to Bakhtiari, Jair, just people being, I don't know if we're necessarily forcing them to come back, but just allowing them maybe all these guys are so competitive that they want to come back. And it should be somebody's almost like the dad, scenario where it's like, no, you got to sit this one out. You got to wait. Just having more patience of letting these guys come back too quickly. Do you think there's anything there, or is that just kind of, people just get injured?
It
wild, depends on who you talk to, right? I mean, some people think the Packers are overly conservative with
that's what I'm saying. Is I've heard both sides, and it's weird because
I completely agree. That's exactly where I was going with that. Tim, is like one side of the fan base talks about how they're way too conservative. The other side, which I tend to fall into the aggressive side. Like, that Christian Watson thing last year should never have happened. It should have never happened. They should have said, thank you, Christian. Your teammates love you. We know you want to be out here, but hell no, you're not going out there and playing in this meaningless game against the Bears.
Same thing with Zach Tom this year.
Yeah. So as Jen Wright said, Tom looks better in practice. I think that was according to maybe Wes Hykowitz, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens. And again, this is probably the game where you can afford to sit a couple of these guys. I want to be very clear. That doesn't mean this is a slam dunk win. It doesn't. But if there's any team on the roster that's not named the Carolina Panthers that you can afford to sit a couple players, it's probably the Cincinnati Bengals. And, especially at the detriment of worrying, are we going to lose these players for an extended period of time because you're being too aggressive? And obviously we dealt with this last year with Jordan Love battling 3 different injuries at the same time throughout the season. He's looked a lot better this year, got off to a hot start. Matt Schneidman tweeted out this video from the locker room earlier today. Let's see what QB1 had to say.
Yeah, no, I think I've got off to a great start. I think that's obviously it's me, and it takes everybody on the offense to do that. Blocking, receivers, so everybody making plays. But I think there's still just room to keep improving, keep trying to be as consistent. I still think there's a couple of misses out there. Obviously the turnover is a big one in that Cleveland game. Wish I can get that one back, but good stuff. Just keep building on and keep executing at a high level. But you do some good stuff. Teams are going to try and find ways to stop that. So we just got to keep executing, keep finding ways to go out there and be our best on offense.
And it seems like Jordan is in a real good spot, Tim. I mean, this guy. He's off to a great start. I seen this come down the wire earlier today. Fox NFL had tweeted it out, and it was from DraftKings Sportsbook. Jordan Love has the 4th best odds to win NFL MVP right now. As it sits, Josh Allen in first place at a plus 150. Second place, Patrick Mahomes at a plus 400. Third, Baker Mayfield at a plus 800. And then tied for 4th is Matthew Stafford and Jordan Love at a plus 1,200 with Jared Goff right behind them at in the 6th place at a plus 1,500. Everybody had the same reaction you guys did to Patrick Mahomes being second on this list. Boys, this is Vegas, okay? They know what the hell they're doing. I'm telling you, it's easy for all of us to laugh, and I seen it too and went, what? But at the end of the year, do not be surprised that Patrick Mahomes all of a sudden has the Kansas City Chiefs playing decent football, and he's in the hunt for MVP. It happens all the time with these type of lists.
Patrick Mahomes.
The fact that Jordan Love, though, is tied for 4th is really, really exciting. I mean, it was this time last year. I'm trying to think exactly how the year started, but I do know there was pockets of points last year where the fan base was like, I don't think Jordan Love's the guy. I don't think he's the guy. We went from this dude was arguably the best quarterback in the second half of 2023 to all of a sudden he might not be the guy back to he's an MVP candidate. So what's your all's thoughts on that odds list there, man?
Good, Jacob.
I'm very excited about it. I think that like you just said, I mean, Patrick Mahomes is going to get a lot of attention no matter what he does. He could literally, I mean, what was it, that Chris Collinsworth call where he fumbled it and then got it back or threw an interception and like recovered the fumble that they happened to like luckily get back, and he's like, oh, you made such a great play there, and it's like, all right, whatever. I do think that Baker's playing a hell of a season. I think Josh Allen's maybe a little bit overrated, so I really do like Jordan Love's odds right now, and I just think that he's going to have an opportunity if he just keeps playing smart football and not turning that ball over. I think the offense is going to keep clicking, and he's going to start racking up more games where he's probably a 300-plus, 3-tud type games, and I think that if he starts using his legs even more, that's going to increase his odds quite exponentially of just putting up the sort of stats that would dictate worthiness of an MVP. And just real quick, just because you mentioned it, Clayton, I think that Tucker Kraft's over-under right now is at 43.5. So, but that could increase a little bit and decrease depending on what's happening. But I don't know, Tim, what do you think? I like those odds right now, and people literally are still bashing his name. He's tied for fourth. Like, just put that in perspective. Again, we talked about it a little bit last night. Certain sector of the fan base just wants to be negative. Jordan Love is tied for fourth in MVP rankings, or what do you call it, odds right now. That's insane.
Right. Yeah, I think that maybe one of the reasons is we're coming off a loss and a tie. We haven't won a ball.
You're not
game.
saying fans are emotional.
We haven't won a ball game in a while though, and you look at everybody else on this list aside from Mahomey. Everyone else is winning ball games too. Those teams are winning. Baker Mayfield's playing at the highest level I think we've ever seen him play in his career, which is crazy because he's like a fine wine getting better with age, right? But I think it's just great to see Jordan in this conversation, and I would anticipate maybe the odds increasing even a little bit more as the season progresses if we can put a win streak together here coming out of the bye week. But bottom line, he is playing good football, and you can tell he's right there, right, Clayton? He's like right at the cusp of that upper echelon level of quarterback play that we know he's capable of. So I think it's just a matter of how we're going to handle this next chunk of games here as we get into the nitty gritty of the season. Yeah.
And listen, you got a top 10 quarterback, you got a shot to win the Super Bowl. That's the way I see it, and if he's top 5, you got a real good shot. If he somehow, some way finishes in the top 3, there better be some other glaring issues on your team being the reason that you didn't win the Super Bowl. I mean, there's got to be. So love the shot, love the chances that we got here with Jordan Love at the helm. United Bates says Dak probably should be in that list, not Mahomes. Completely agree with that, Bates. Completely agree with that. So, and of course, Matthew Stafford got 2 of the best receivers in the game right now, Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. So obviously he's putting up good numbers too as well. I'm positive on that. So let's go back to the injury report. We kind of got away from it, but I just wanted to hit on those MVP odds since we had that Jordan clip. I thought that was interesting. So the full injury report. All right, here is what we've got, gang. I always suck at trying to get this zoomed in. Hopefully that's good enough. But Aaron Banks, limited participation with the groin. Anthony Belton did not participate with the ankle. Kingsley Enagbare, limited with the ankle. Nate Hobbs, limited with the concussion. Tucker Kraft with the elbow, full participation. Jordan Love, full participation with the left thumb / ankle. Ankle is interesting. I didn't know he had an ankle issue. Brandon McManus, right quadricep, limited. Jacob Monk, hamstring, limited. Jordan Morgan, full participation, so he seems to be good to go. Zach Tom with the oblique was limited. Rasheed Walker, limited with the quadricep. Christian Watson, limited with the knee. Savion Williams with the groin was limited. And Devontae Wyatt with the knee did not participate. So essentially what you got is 2 players that did not participate. That's Anthony Belton and Devontae Wyatt, and a whole bunch of limiteds here. So if those are the 2 guys that you're going to be missing on Sunday, I feel pretty good about our chances against the Bengals. You're going to miss Wyatt. Don't get me wrong. I think what you'll see, though, I ran the numbers earlier today, and I want to say they run 11 personnel 75% of the time, maybe 75 or 78% of the time. It's in the game plan on our Patreon group if you guys want to check that out. And I'm going to continue to add to that game plan as we go later into the week. But what that means is you're probably going to see more cheetah package. So I imagine in the 3-tech, what you're looking for is you're looking to get LVN in that 3-tech when you march your cheetah package out there. If you guys don't know what cheetah is, it's when they put LVN in a 3-tech, which is typically an edge defender, but now he's going to be playing in between the guard and the tackle. And then on each edge, you've got Rashawn Gary and Micah Parsons. So, that's how it looks right now. Again, to me, this just screams Devontae Wyatt's not going to play. Anything else grab your all's attention on the Packers side of this injury report?
Escalade, man, big Escalade. It's sad that he's not participating. I wonder how serious that ankle is going to be for him. I feel like he's a guy that could really help our O-line, especially on that right side. But we'll see.
Yeah, right. I was just going to say I hate just the sheer number that's there after a bye. Yeah. I would have loved to see that look maybe, a fraction of what that is. And to Tim's point, seeing Aaron Banks, Belton, seeing Monk, Morgan, Tom.
How about Walker. Our kicker with a right quad injury?
Yeah.
Load. That me no like that.
Great. That's not great at all.
Arbasachi.
Oh, man, that's funny. To be fair, actually, just real quick while you brought that up, today I think I listened to Matt's press conference. It was either from today or yesterday, but it really did kind of put in perspective what we've talked about. Where I've been more kind of on somebody needs to be held responsible for how bad we've been playing. But it just is. When you break it down, you can see where the players made the mistakes. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like you always say they didn't tell him to go out there and just whiff on a dude and let him, block the kick. That's not how we draw it up on the board. And it for whatever reason, it did click the way that Matt kind of described it, because it was like, that's not, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make him drink, kind of thing. So I think we just maybe.
Here's another good example. Joe says, hopefully Hafley remembers, I can bring Cooper and Quay on a blitz. See, I seen the game totally different last week. I seen them blitz when I felt like they shouldn't have, and we got burned for a explosive play. So it's different fans. I'm not saying I'm right and Joe's wrong, or he's right and I'm wrong, but we see the game totally different. I seen them blitzing those guys in man coverage and us getting cooked, as opposed to, hey, let's play a little more match look with some zone underneath, maybe a little double rat look, and let's take those checkdowns away. Or, God forbid, why don't we try to play a little something different and bend to the side of George Pickens, right? If you could bend to the side of George Pickens and allow that corner on that side, if you're playing a cover 6 and you put the 4 on Pickens' side, what that allows you to do is it allows Valentine and these guys to not have to play over the top technique, and they can dive bomb underneath on those comeback routes that Pickens was hitting us with. And what I mean by that is, if you come out in a cover 6 look, which we ran a little bit less of this year than we did last year, if you run a cover 6 and half the field's cover 4, half the field's cover 2, if you put the cover 4 side on Pickens, let him dictate the coverage. We knew that was the only, and we didn't even call him a Tuesday player, but we knew that was pretty much the only guy that was going to be able to cook you, right? Ferguson's dink and dunk, his stats are very, very misleading underneath. But if you put the 4 on Pickens' side, now what it allows you to do is the safety that's on that cover 4 side. Let's say, remember Valentine having to play off post snap and allowing those comebacks? It's because he was in a cover 3 look or cover 1 man, where his responsibility is you cannot get beat over your outside shoulder, sideline, deep, right? So if you come out in that cover 4 or that cover 6 with the 4 side, now what you can do is he can dive bomb underneath, and that safety is helping you over the top. Even if they go trips and Trey right, if they cook you with the number 3 corner on a cover 2 side of a cover 6 look, I can live with that. But allowing the same guy to beat you over and over and over again, why did that happen? Because we were blitzing in the middle, and he was having to play over the top technique to basically remove that explosive play. And Dak was just getting the ball out a split second early, and you guys know how I feel about it. I feel like there was a lot of holding going on. That was the big difference maker in those particular plays. So,
agreed.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. United Bates says, Jen, I'm seeing Matt LaFleur is 3-3 after the bye week, 4-5 if you include the playoffs after the first round bye. So he's sitting right at about 500 there. So not horrible, obviously. There's some coaches that can't coach themselves out of a paper bag coming out of the bye. And there's others that are dominant. I remember Belichick being really dominant during his run because he had that extra week of preparation. So, but yeah, appreciate you looking that up. Bates, you are the man. On the Cincinnati Bengals side, Jamar Chase limited. Dylan Fairchild, guard, did not participate. BJ Hill, defensive tackle, was full participation. Charlie Jones and Lucas Patrick. That name sound familiar? Mm-hmm. Both of those guys were limited. Drew Sample, tight end, did not participate with the ankle. And then Shamar Stewart with the ankle was limited as well. So it seems like they're quite a bit healthier than us, but of course not on this list is the main guy, Joe Burrow, right? And we're going to be playing Joe Flacco, obviously. So we'll see how that goes for sure. But anything else on the injury report before we get into the PFF preview, guys?
Is Dylan Fairchild? I think he's either a rookie or a early.
He's young.
Player.
I know that. Yeah.
Yeah. Is he a starter? Do you know? Because I know that they have already kind of been banged up, and I thought that I remember seeing that they were like one of the, if not the worst, pass blocking group in the league. And I'm just curious if that would mean that they're down Dylan Fairchild, and I don't think Patrick was a starter, but
Dylan Fairchild was the 81st overall pick, so he was a third-round pick this year, and he is his grade is a 45.1. Looks like he started all 5 weeks.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, and then Lucas Patrick, he's got the double star, right? So he's in the 21-day window. So he's probably just seeing the field again too. So yeah, that's crazy. And then Jamar Chase being on there is hilarious. That's just a rest day, right? Yeah.
He's just taking it easy.
Yep.
So all right. Good deal, man. So there you go. There's your injury update, like I said, and your Christian Watson update. Let us know in the comments what you think if you're watching this video back later. And let us know, do you think they should keep Christian Watson out there? Do you think they should hold him out? Should they play that conservative? Same thing with Devontae Wyatt. We want to hear from you in the comments. And make sure you hit subscribe and click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live here in the future. All right, let's get into the PFF preview. And again, we covered this first screen pretty extensively yesterday. We're just going to spend a split second on it. The line, obviously, it opened up at, let's see, where did it open? It opened at 14.5. It moved to 14. Then it came back to 14.5 and went back to 14. So you can see it's kind of hovering around those two numbers. It is back up to 14. It looks like it's changed 1, 2, 3, 4, roughly 5 times since the line opened. So it looks like it's settled in right now at 14 points. And just so you guys know, if there's people that are not big gamblers that are listening to this, all this means is the initial line that dropped, right? That's how Vegas seen this game. And then the money that pours in after that, the public kind of dictates which direction the line moves in. I like to focus on the overall money as opposed to the bet percentage. And the reason being is the big money, the sharp money, is typically more telling in that percentage of the overall money, which 59% of the money is on the Bengals plus 14. All right. Now, when you go to the money line itself, which means winning outright, you'll see 80% of the money is on the Packers in that regard, with 95% of the bets being on the Packers. So what I typically like to do is take that percentage and find a good happy medium in between the bet percentage of the money line and the percentage of the money overall. So I would put this closer to an 85% type thing here. So again, any given Sunday, anything can happen, right? But let's go to the lineups here. And let's start on offense and let's go against their nickel. Okay, so let's see how we can attack this defense here, guys. Let's go through the Packers grades real quick, just across the entire board. Starting on the offensive line from left to right, Rasheed Walker, 57. Aaron Banks, 38, albeit minimal snaps. We know he's been injured all year long. He hasn't been healthy yet. Hopefully this is the first game we'll see him healthy. Elton Jenkins, a 59. He's the 27th highest graded center right now. Right guard, they're showing Sean Ryan at a 53.5. I've been pretty vocal. I would love to see Kennard out there starting. And then Zach Tom, if he does return, his grade is a 59.5, albeit, he's been banged up, and that's minimal snaps there as well. So that's how the offensive line shakes out. When you go to their defensive front, Trey Hendrickson, 86.5, the 11th highest graded edge defender. Then you got Osai, I guess is how you say it, or Osai, 50.4. BJ Hill, 60.1. And then the opposite side, they've got Shamar Stewart listed as the starter here, although he's had minimal snaps, 69.6 as a rookie. So let's go around the horn with that and start there. Tim, what do you think about our offensive line against their defensive front?
Well, Shamar Stewart was just on that injury report, right? Dealing with an ankle injury or something like that.
So is Hill.
Yeah.
Yep. So these guys are banged up, whether they're going to go or not. They're not going to be 100%. Obviously, your main concern is Trey Hendrickson, right? And I don't know how much they move him, how much he moves around on that line, if he would switch sides if necessary or anything like that. But Rasheed Walker is going to have his hands full against Hendrickson, and I think that's right. When I look at our line, I'm looking at the left side of that line, and that's my initial reaction. I think though, if we can stick to a decent game plan where we try to balance the run and the pass, and we can get the ball out quick, much like you were saying Dallas did to us, in that overtime thriller. I think we'll be okay. But Hendrickson is one of those guys that, if you're not careful, he's gonna get his. So that's my initial concern. I'm with you too. I'd like to see maybe them shake some things up with the starters here. on this O-line, depending on how everyone is injury-wise, going into this weekend.
Yeah, outside of Hendrickson here, Jacob, it feels like this could be a get-right game for the offensive line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'm still a little nervous and gun-shy because I feel like when we played teams like the Browns, when we knew, quote unquote, hey, we just got to focus on Myles Garrett, got to take away Myles Garrett. It feels like that we almost overcorrected to the point where we only focused on Myles Garrett and the rest of the guys ended up eating. And we talked about how BJ Hill and Stewart are on that injury list. Well, so was Tom, Banks, Walker, and a few others from the offensive line. So I'm a little more worried that we're just not going to be up to snuff as far as being healthy and ready to go. But that being said, I think that on paper, when you look at this for sure, you got to take care of Hendrickson, and the rest of them are kind of, I don't want to say that they're gimmies or anything like that. Like you said, this game is screaming trap game completely. It really is for a whole bunch of different reasons. And I just don't want us to fall victim to trying to think that we got it in the bag before we go out there and put it on the field.
Let's get out there and establish a run game for once this year.
Yes,
run the damn ball, keep it on the ground, commit to it.
I got to stay off Twitter, Tim, because when I see he's not aggressive enough, I'm going, God, can we please just stick with the run for 2 seconds here? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Let's establish the run. And don't get it twisted, guys. This defensive line, this defense for Cincinnati is nothing like Cleveland. Nothing like Cleveland.
Yep.
Cleveland is a dominant defense. They are solid. I think they're the number one rush defense in the entire league right now. And obviously Dallas's run defense wasn't that bad either. They were 7th going into that game, and we were able to run the ball pretty effectively. If you can neutralize Hendrickson here, I think this might be a Josh Jacobs game. I don't know what his over-under is, Jacob, but that's one I would look at him and maybe Emmanuel Wilson as those might be 2 guys to have a ball game against this for sure. So, and when you look at their linebackers, since we're talking running game, well, first of all, Josh Jacobs, some people think he's having a down year. He's the 10th highest graded running back in the league at a 76.1. And then Jordan Love at 82.6. We kind of talked about him already. And their linebacking core out of their nickel, they got Knott Jr. and Wilson. Knott Jr. 46, Wilson 56. What do you got, Jacob?
Yeah, no, just Josh Jacobs over under right now is 79.5 rushing yards. Jordan Love's 7.5 rushing yards.
Overs. Smash the overs.
I would hammer the over for Love for sure.
Yeah.
The only thing that worries me, Tim, about taking the over for Josh Jacobs is if this does go as most people are predicting it to go, and you get up to an early lead, you know what I'm saying? Maybe they start to get into the backfield a little bit and get Chris Brooks some carries, get Emmanuel Wilson a little more carries. I could see that, but then again, you might find yourself in a damn dogfight like it's been the last few weeks, So
absolutely.
Yeah. I'd definitely take the over on Love, like Jen Wright's saying there too, for sure. So when you look at the linebackers, right, and how weak those are, Tucker Kraft, this kind of feels like a big game for Tucker. And you said, what was it, roughly 45?
43.5 at the moment.
43.5 yards. I feel pretty good about taking that over right there, boys, because this is a bad pass defense. And again, you look, safeties are the strong point. You got Geno Stone back there. I think that's who it is. Geno Stone. Let me see. Yeah, Geno Stone. So Geno Stone is grading out a 66.1. Battle is grading out a 66. And you think those aren't great grades, Clayton? Right. Look at the corners. Taylor Britt, 55. Hill, 63. And then Turner, 60. So
the safeties are working overtime, backing up those corners, man. Holy cow!
What's Love's over under, Jacob, for passing yards? Any idea there?
I believe it was 239.5.
Okay, I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah.
It might go back to what I was just telling Tim though. If you got a big lead, maybe you just press into the run and go that route, but. Other than that, I would feel pretty good about taking the over there with Love for sure. When you look at our receivers now, they're grading out right now. Dobbs is a 63.1, Golden's a 60.9, and Dontavion Wicks is a 64.5. Again, we'll see if Christian plays. I don't know, man. To me, it just feels like this might not be the week, but we'll see how that shakes out as well. What's Savion's over under?
They don't have that listed yet. The only 3 receivers they have is Dobbs at 40.5. Tucker at 43.5 and Golden at 46.5. Usually as they get closer to the game, they'll start throwing out a little more obscure players that don't, have a lot
Matthew
of snaps.
Golden could hit that over on one snap.
I know, dude.
And as you say that, Tim, I'm sitting there thinking that seemed a little low for Dob. I could see Dobby having blowing that out of the water too. So it'll be interesting, man, for sure. Yeah. Anything else you guys want to hit on in terms of the Packers offense against the Bengals defense here? You got anything else?
Yeah, did I mention establish the damn run?
The only thing I was going to say is I want to see more Emmanuel Wilson. I feel like every time we give this guy the ball, he gets us 5 yards, no matter what. And sometimes it's more like 8 or 9 or 10. And I'd like to see a little more sugar, a little more lightning and thunder, a little shake and bake, if you will.
Little Ricky Bobby.
Yeah.
What's do you have an over under for Josh Jacobs receiving yards, Jacob?
They don't have Josh Jacobs receiving yards at the moment.
Got it. That's one it kind of feels like with them having a bad pass defense. Maybe they'll play off. They'll kind of play everything conservative, and you could just dink and dunk like you did against the Cowboys underneath. That could be the case there as well. So, all right. I like this right here. Jen Wright, Golden gets his leap this week. That's what I need to see. I need to see Golden up in the crowd. Yeah. All right. So there you go. There's your Packers offense against the Bengals defense. I guess we could take one quick look at 12 versus base. Let's do that. Musgrave's up to a 59.6 now. And then obviously when they go to their 4-3 base, you get Oren Burks in there, boys. 66.
Here's the guy.
So, yeah. That's who's going to be stepping in as their Sam backer in their base 4-3. I'd like to see us just press into 11 personnel a little bit. Keep things spread out. We did it in the second half last week, and things really opened up. Don't get too cute with the condensed sets and the 12 and 13 personnel. Let's open things up and spread the defense out. Everybody's going to be worried about Jordan Love. Jordan Love's off to a fast start, so I would like to see them spread things out and run the rock, like I said last week. So, all right. Let's move along to defense now. We'll go our nickel against their 11 personnel. Look who it is, boys. It's Joey Flacco, 60.2, the 30th highest graded quarterback in the league. The running back they got listed as Brown at a 53.6. Boy, Chase Brown been cheeks. He's been absolute cheeks at 53.6. So if that is their number one running back, that's a rough look for them. Offensive line from left to right, Brown Jr., 57, Fairchild, 45, Karras, center, 49, Rivers, right guard, 43, and Mims, right tackle, 50. That is ugly. That is really – we thought our line looked ugly on PFF grades. My God, that looks hideous. So when you look at our defensive line, Micah Parsons, the second highest graded edge rusher, 92.7. Carl Brooks in the middle at a 54. Devontae Wyatt, obviously, probably not going to be playing in this game. I'd be very, very surprised if he makes his appearance in this game. Of course, he's listed as 72.6. It shows you why they scored, I think, on 5. They scored 5 touchdowns, Dallas did, once he went out of the game. Yeah. They didn't score any while he was in the game. And then Rashawn Gary grading out a 69.6. Last I heard, I want to say he was top 3 in sacks, even though we didn't play last week. So we'll see if he continues up his hot streak. What do y'all think about the trenches matchup there between the Browns and the Packers?
Multi-sack game for Micah Parsons. I just have a feeling. And then my next reaction is, who do you guys think is going to be the answer, with Wyatt not being in there? Do you think they shift some guys around, start LVN? What is the approach? Are we going to go with, Colby Wooden?
I think where they play so much 11 personnel, Tim, I think you're going to see a lot of cheetah package. So I think what you're going to see in Wyatt's place is a lot of LVN this week. I really do. I hope that's the case. Cool. So that'd be my answer. What about you, Jake? What's your answer today?
That's what I would hope. I mean, I really do think that gives us a different, even on, if it's not necessarily, correct me if I'm wrong, but is a cheetah package more usually designed for like a 3rd and long or like a 2nd and long type situation to get those guys out there? But I really do feel like LVN can do enough where that it could work in short yardage situations if we have to do it in a pinch. I also like what Brooks and Wooden have done this year, how they've progressed. The PFF grade isn't hot for both of them right now, but I do think that they're playing a little bit better than maybe what that grade dictates. And I don't know if we can just absolutely try to get in, I like what you said, Tim. Something feels like Parsons, he wanted to have, like Amelia said last night, he wants to put that trophy on the wall. He wants to hang that he's sacked Joe Flacco, and apparently he still hasn't. So he gets another shot at that. I don't see him as a type of player that's going to, not use that opportunity. And then to get Gary in there as well. Like I want Gary to be leading the league in sacks. I mean, it would just make I'd have a smile from ear to ear.
For sure. I think Brooks could prove to be the X factor though. If we get a hell of a game out of Carl Brooks, which I feel like he's due. He's there. PFF grade isn't there, but like you said, I don't know, man. I think cheetah package or not, which obviously is going to, play to the advantage of Micah getting that sack on Flacco that he's looking for. But I'd like to see Carl Brooks have a hell of a game. That would really help stabilize things in the middle, I think.